chapter 30. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I disdained, to sit with the dogs of my flock. Yea, the strength of their hands, whereto should it profit me? Men in whom ripe age is perished. They are gaunt with want and famine. They gnaw the dry ground in the gloom of wasteness and desolation. They pluck saltwort with wormwood, and the roots of the broom are their food. They are driven forth from the midst of men. They cry after them as after a thief. In the clefts of the valleys must they dwell, in the holes of the earth and of the rocks. Among the bushes they bray. Under the nettles they are gathered together. They are children of churls, yea, children of ignoble men. They were scourged out of the land. And now I am become their song, yea, I am a byword unto them. They abhor me, they flee far from me, and spare not to spit in my face. For he hath loosed my cord, and afflicted me, and they have cast off the bridle before me. Upon my right hand rise the brood. They entangle my feet, and they cast up against me their ways of destruction. They break up my path, they further my calamity, even men that have no helper. As through a wide breach they come in the midst of the ruin, they roll themselves upon me. Terrors are turned upon me, they chase mine honor as the wind, and my welfare is passed away as a cloud. And now my soul is poured out within me. Days of affliction have taken hold upon me. In the night my bones are pierced, and fall from me, and my sinews take no rest. By the great force of my disease is my garment disfigured. It bindeth me about as the collar of my coat. He hath cast me into the mire, and I am become like dust and ashes. I cry unto you, and you dost not answer me. I stand up, you lookest at me. You art turned to be cruel to me. The might of your hand, you hatest me. You liftest me to the wind, you causest me to ride upon it, you dissolvest my substance. For I know that you wilt bring me to death, and to the house appointed for all living. Surely none shall put forth his hand to a ruinous heap, neither because of these things shall help come in one's calamity. If I had not wept for him that was in trouble, and if my soul grieved not for the needy, yet when I looked for good, there came evil, and when I waited for light, there came darkness. Mine inwards boil and rest not, days of affliction are come upon me. I go mourning without the sun. I stand up in the assembly, and cry for help. I am become a brother to jackals, and a companion to ostriches. My skin is black, and falleth from me, and my bones are burned with heat. Therefore is my harp turned to mourning, and my pipe into the voice of them that weep. All right, let's go back up. Verse 1. Job's continuing in his parable. Job is just continuing this parable, or this similitude that he's using, this that he's likening to what's going on. And yesterday, or the last chapter, Job was wishing it was back like it was before. I mean, when things were good and God was buttering up his ways, God was giving him the fat of the land, his children were with him, and he was happy and content. And he went on to say how the princes and all the nobles, the chiefs, the children, everybody respected him. Everybody had respect for him and waited for Job. Everybody enjoyed to see Job because Job was always a helping word. Job always had something good to say. But now Job is in distress, and everything Job has been taken away. Job is covered with boils, and he has these three, actually there's four people there, and three of them are been browbeaten. Job means to be browbeaten, to be hated, to be looked down upon. And they've been accusing Job of his sin. Job hasn't sinned. He's going to continue now in his parable in verse 1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I disdain to sit with the dogs of my flock. But now these that are younger, this word younger here, the word is yom, and it refers to days, or times, periods. Now these that are period, or would have more time than I, have me in derision. And these would be whose fathers I disdain to sit with my flocks. And disdain, just it means I would flat refuse to even have them sit with the dogs of my flock, let alone the sheep. They ain't good enough to watch over the dogs. Yea, 2. The strength of their hands, whereto should it profit me, when in whom ripe ages perish? Yes, now, the strength of their hands. The strength of their hands, the abilities of their work. See, the strength in their work, their ability to accomplish what they set out to do. Where should it profit me? What good is it to me? What good's it going to do to me now? These whom in ripe age is perished. These men whom in ripe age is perished, even the fact that they've grown older has done no good. We'll find out age has done them no good. They still in their ignorance. 3. They are gaunt with the want of famine. They gnaw the dry ground in the gloom of wasteness and desolation. They are gaunt with want and famine. And they're dried up with it. They are consumed by it. They want and famine for need and famine. Famine is starvation. And usually with starvation, we can go ahead and relate the drought, this dry ground. They gnaw at the dry ground because there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no moisture. There's no substance of any kind in the gloom of wasteness and desolation. And they face this in this gloom, and they're looking forward to waste and desolation, as there's only one thing there. There's death coming. 4. They pluck saltwort with wormwood, and the roots of the broom are their food. They pluck saltwort. This is maluk and mallows, and it grows in the salt marshes. It grows in the marshes of the salt, and it picks up the salt. Without the salt, there's nothing to it really. That the taste of it would be just bland. With this wormwood, or with bitterness, this saltwort, we'll find out, would only cause great thirst. And the roots of the broom are their food, or the roots of this that is dried up. This is used to be swept. I believe King James says the juniper. Actually, the word is retem. Retem is a broom plant, and it means to retem. Gets its root from ratam, and ratam is that which is bound together. Things that are bound together, and that's why it's known as a broom plant, because they bind them together to sweep with. 5. They are driven forth from the midst of the men. They cry after them as a thief. They are driven forth from the midst of men. They were driven out, even in times past, we'll find out. They cry after them as a thief. They cry after these that like a thief, because they are driven away. And they take away with them their life, even for prey. 6. In the clefts of the valleys must they dwell, in the holes of the earth and of the rocks. In the clefts of the valleys, these hiding places, we'll find out. In the valley's a low spot. The valley's a crack. The valley's a crevice. It's something you fall into you can't get out of. And they must dwell, see, in these hiding places of these lowland as flesh, in the holes of the earth. Holes or pits of the earth. Earth is all things that are made of earth. They are even the flesh. See, and in the holes of the flesh do they hide, and of the rocks, these things that are established. We'll find out that what they do is they hide there. They hide in the sins of men. 7. Among the bushes they bray. Under the nettles they are gathered together. Among the bushes they bray. In the wilderness, so to speak, they bray. This is what a ass does. An ass brays. An ass is something that carries a burden, like somebody carrying a burden, braying or complaining. Under the nettles, they are gathered together. A nettle is a prickly plant, a plant that is prickly, and that's what it refers to. These nettles, kind of like a big briar bush. Under the briar bushes, they gather. 8. They are children of churls, yea, children of ignoble men. They were scourged out of the land. They are children, or those that come from churls. And that is a fool. That's an idiot, is what it basically boils down. Someone that just won't use common sense. Yea, they are children of ignoble men. Uh, this word ignoble, I believe King James Version says they are children of base men. Base means we think low. But what this word is Shem. And the word Shem means name. See, and what that represents is they stand for this. This is what they stand for. Children that stand for foolishness. See, and they were scourged out of the land. I believe King James Version here says they were viler than the earth. Well, the earth is not vile. The earth is clean in its state, but it's man who would be vile. But what our version says that they were scourged, and that's what the word means. They were smited. They were forced out of the land, driven out. Even in times past, that's what happened to Cain. 9. And now I am become their song, yea, I am a byword unto them. And now I am become their song, something they sing, something they to call to remembrance. Yea, I am a byword unto them, a word that is forgotten, even that something that's forgotten, something that would have to be called to your remembrance. 10. They abhor me, they flee far from me, and spare not to spit in my face. They abhor me, well, they hate me, and they flee from me. They don't want nothing to do with me. And they spare not. They don't mind to spit in my face. They don't mind to spit at me, to mock me, to hate me, to scorn me. 11. For he hath loosed my cord, and afflicted me, and they have cast off the bridle before me. For he hath loosed my cord. Loosed, let go, set free my cord, that which bound me up, and afflicted me. And he has afflicted me, or he has put me in derision, and they have cast off the bridle before me. The bridle is that which controls, that which gives you control over a great strength. Usually the horse is what we would relate the bridle to. And they have cast it off before me. I have seen this, that the bridle, the control, the self-control even, has been cast off. There's no hope. See, there's no one to restrain, no one to hold back the wickedness. 12. From my right hand rise the brood. They entangle my feet. They cast up against me their ways of destruction. Upon my right hand, the right hand my hand's my works. The right's always the great strength in it. That's where my great abilities are. And they rise up the brood. They rise up. These are where they rise up, those that we've been talking about, the wicked. And they entangle my feet. These paths that I go on, they're caused to be entangled. They set in snares and traps. They're looking to hunt. They're hunting souls of men. They cast up against me their ways of destruction. Their ways of destruction, their understandings. We don't really want no part of them. Everybody has the ability to get their own understanding. It comes through the law of God. That what defines sin. See, God defined it for us in the beginning, so we wouldn't need another to do that. 13. They break up my path. They further my calamity. Even men that have no helper. They break up my paths. They want to destroy these ways whereby I go. They further my calamity. They want to further my destruction, further my hatred, further the browbeating. Even men that have no helper. Even these that work by themselves. They're on their own, because we'll find out God's not helping them. And this helper, even God give man the woman for a helpmate in the beginning. That from man, or even an understanding from man. They got no understanding. They got no help. 14. As through a wide breach they come, In the midst of the ruin, they roll themselves upon me. As through a wide breach, like a breaking. A breach is something, a break. We can look at it like a giant hole in the wall. Like somebody's made a great big hole, and they're all coming through it. See, in the midst of the ruin. And then that's in the midst of the city. Let's look at it like a city that's already been destroyed. And a giant hole's now made in the wall. And they come in and they roll themselves upon me like a dog on a carcass to mark it, to make it known. See, 15. Terrors are turned upon me. They chase mine honor as the wind, and my welfare is passed away as a cloud. Terrors are turned upon me. Terror, these thoughts of destruction, these thoughts of wasteness, thoughts of death even, are turned upon me. These that I have, this is what's entering into me. They chase mine honor as the wind. Mine honor, they chase my honor. This word actually means nobility. I believe King James Version here says soul. The word is nadiba, and this is nobleness, nobility, of rank, honor. But what we're talking about is this that is within him, or his own path, his own integrity, so to speak. That's what they're after, to bring him down. See, they're after to bring him down. With their understandings are they pursuing him. 16. And now my soul is poured out within me. Days of affliction have taken hold upon me. And now my soul is poured out within me. Oh, we'll find out. Job's facing death. My soul is that which is within me, and that understanding I have, that which belongs to God, is poured out. The days of my affliction have taken hold upon me. The days, or these understandings that I've been afflicted, have taken hold upon me. They've grasped me. They have got me. They bind me up even. 17. In the night my bones are pierced and fall from me, and my sinews take no rest. In the night my bones are pierced. The bones are the essence. Within me there's a piercing, as something is quickening my soul. And in the night, my sinews, they take no rest. The sinews, we would think, is like these things that attach the muscle to the bone. This word here is actually arak. Arak means to gnaw, to chew. And these gnawings have grasped me in the night. And these gnawings, they take no rest. These things I keep going over and over and over, and they gnaw at me like a mouse. 18. By the great force of my disease is my garment disfigured. It bindeth me about as the collar of my coat. By the great force, by this disease, we'll find out. His sickness is what he's referring to. We don't know if he actually had a disease. A sickness, we'll find out. Job was covered with boils. His garment is disfigured. They don't even recognize Job. His skin is in such bad state, and he's disfigured. It bindeth him about like the color of his coat. And we're talking about the flesh here. It's wrapped around him tightly. We'll find out he's down to skin and bones. 19. He has cast me into the mire, and I am become like dust and ashes. He has cast me into the mire. That's that place where we sink into. Mire is like mud. It's a mud, and when you step into it, you just sink down in it because the dust is so saturated that you can't get out. It sinks. You sink into it, and that's what this is. He has cast me into the sinking. The sinking, even a pit that we would sink into. And I am become like the dust and ashes. I am become like dust that's dried up, and ashes, that which has been consumed. It's dry. 20. I cry unto you, and you dost not answer me. I stand up, and you look at me. I cry unto you, I cry out, and you do not answer. To answer would be to speak. I stand up. I get on my feet, these paths where I go by, and you look at me. You look at me, you gaze upon me. 21. You are turned to be cruel to me. With the might of your hand you have hated me. You are turned, come around, gone around, this full circle even, kind of. We could look at it like that. To be cruel. Now this period of harshness is upon me. With the might of your hand, with the great strength in your works, you have hated me, or caused these to put me in derision. 22. You lift me up to the wind, you cause me to ride upon it, and you dissolvest my substance. You lift me up to the wind. Now, you hold me up into the wind like something that's going to be blown away, and you cause me to ride upon it. This is for this reason. I mean, an example, like an example's being made. He lift me up to the wind, and I'm blown away. Because God causes me to ride upon the wind, that which goes forth, and you dissolvest my substance, and you have taken away my substance. This word substance is tushia. Tushia is my wisdom. You've took away my sound knowledge and my success. These things whereby I get substance. See, not actually the substance, but these things whereby I gain substance. You dissolvest my substance by wisdom. You dissolvest it by knowledge, by understanding. 23. For I know that you will bring me to death and to the house appointed for all living. For I know that sooner or later you will bring me to death. I go this way just like all other men. See that? This was the flesh speaking, though. This is the flesh speaking. How do we know that? Because the inwardness, the understanding of that which perishes. This house, this is the place or the abode that's appointed for all living. All things that we see living. 24. Surely none shall put forth his hand to a ruinous heap, neither because of these things shall help come in one's calamity. Surely none shall put forth his hand to help a ruinous heap. Surely none's going to put forth his works to help a ruinous heap. A ruinous heap is something that's done been destroyed and is piled up. It's like a mound, a ruinous heap. And it's a mound, and this ruinous heap, and there's knowledge and understanding what's under that ruinous heap, that which was destroyed before. Neither because of these things shall help come in one's calamity. And because of this, because of the understanding what's under it, what caused it, what brought it down, there's nobody going to help in the calamity of it. There's no help for the trouble, because especially those which God brought down, because God controls these things. 25. If I have not wept for him that was in trouble, and if my soul grieved not for the needy. But see, I have wept for him that was in trouble. The old saying, I have wept for him that was in trouble, and my soul, that which is within me, has grieved for those that were needy. Because fine, Job's a humble man. He has understanding of these things. This would probably be where Job come from, out of humility. 26. Yet when I looked for good, there came evil, and when I waited for light, there came darkness. Yet when I looked for good, when I looked for good, when I looked for some help, there came evil. There came no help. There came only the wickedness against me. These three that are sitting there accusing him. That's to complete the witness of the accusations of these assumptions made of Job's sin. And just because he is brought down, see, just because he's brought down, and I waited for light, there came darkness. I waited for light, I waited for some understanding, I waited for a little light to shine upon this, so that I could get some understanding, and there came only this darkness, only the darkness. There's no understanding, there's no light. 27, my inwards boil, and rest not. Days of affliction are come upon me. My inwards boil, they're consumed, they're boiling over and over like a rolling. My inwards are rolling over and over. There's no rest. There's no rest. This that's gnawing at me, wondering, what have I done? Why am I being consumed? Why is this trouble upon me when I've not sinned? Days of affliction are come upon me. These understandings even of this affliction are come upon me. The affliction of the flesh, that's what it is. 28. I go mourning without the sun. I stand up in the assembly and cry for help. I go mourning without the sun, in darkness. I go mourning in darkness, crying, weeping, wailing, in darkness, without any understanding why I'm crying, wailing, and weeping. I stand up in the assembly. All those that are gathered. An assembly is a gathering together of people. The assembly would be looked at as the congregation, and understanding that those that have understanding are gathered together in that assembly, and cry for help. I ask those who have understanding to help me. 29. I am become a brother to jackals and a companion to ostriches. I have become a brother to jackals and this companion to ostriches. I believe King James Version says here, I am a brother to the dragons. Well, there's no such thing as a dragon. I have seen a muffler dragon before. I have seen a stick dragon. But in other words, there's nothing else dragon, except some people's attitudes from behind. But this dragon here, it means elongated. We're referring to as a serpent. I am the brother to the serpent. I am of the same understanding as the serpent, this evil one, the wicked one. And a companion to owls, or I believe our other version says the ostriches. Ostrich refers to something that hides its head in the earth. This owl here, we think of owl, we think of the old wise owl. Well, the owl here is Ya'ana, and it means an unclean bird. We're talking about a unclean bird, but one bird that's not acceptable to eat. See, when we get to the Torah or the law, we will find out there are clean and unclean animals, because see, God made a separation in the beginning in the flesh. And this word here can be translated. We can actually translate this Ya'na literally. It means the daughters of the owl, or these understandings that come forth from that unclean fowl. And an unclean fowl, that which flies through the air. A fowl is a bird of the air, and soars through that. They have shadows of darkness under the wings. They hunt their prey. 30. My skin is black, it falleth from me, and my bones are burned with heat. My skin is black. It's darkness. My flesh is darkness. It's black. And there's no disrespect here against people who have color in flesh. This is not what it means. This here, a lot of people would say, well, Job was a black man. No, Job was diseased in his flesh. His flesh had become darkness to him, and it was worthless to him, and it was falling off of him. His bones are burned with heat, and his bones, that's his essence, that which is within him is burned with heat. Even this judgment, understanding there must be some kind of judgment. Job's being brought down himself on the inside by these afflictions of the flesh. 31. Therefore is my harp turned to mourning, and my pipe into the voice of them that weep. Therefore, this is why my harp, those twangings that call to remembrance, it's turned into mourning. My memories are mourning. And we'll find Job lost his children. Job's lost everything he has. And all his memories are turned into crying now. And my pipe into the voice of them that weep. My pipe is something that makes an audible sound. It blows the warning. And my warnings are the voice of them that weep. Are those that cry, the mourners will find out would be those that weep. His warnings are like those that mourn, for they've lost something. We'll find out this is exactly what was going on with Job. He lost everything he had. He was weeping. His flesh was in suffering, and he was crying out, and all his memories were turned into this. Job's in great distress, and it's starting to take hold of him. See, and he's being brought down in his understandings even by these that sit around him. They're offering him no support. All they do is come in and accusing him, and Job may be starting to believe there's something to it. We're going to move on from here. Chapter 31. Turn. Return.